So today is July 3rd. This would ever focus. And it's not gonna. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. I decided, you know what? 9 hours is long enough to build an American flag out of, like, you know those wooden American flags? Yeah, 9 hours is enough to build one, right? Because I wanna have one, wanna build them before the 4th. I don't know why. So it is now 11:45 at night. This is not, in fact, going to be done by the 4th of July. The problem is the blue wasn't looking right. It just, Home Depot brand stain is just bad. This Varathane, that stuff's really good. And from what I've read online, the Rust-Oleum stain is also pretty good. So my plan is tomorrow morning at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to go and buy stain from Menards. Because currently it's 12 o'clock at night, they're kind of closed. But once I get the blue stain, I'm going to restain all of these parts and then finish it. Okay, it's currently 8 o'clock in the morning. No, sorry, 7:30 in the morning. It is the 4th of July, but good old Menards never closes, so I got the other stain. Now I just have to go put it on and then edit the video. You wanna know what's great about editing the video? Is my computer's broken. Like, my laptop broke last week, and now this week my desktop broke. I fortunately had an extra desktop computer. It's booted with Linux. I need to learn how to set up Adobe Premiere on Linux. That'll be interesting. You know what, Menards? Thank you for being Menards, and just, you're always open. You're never closed. You're also crazy cheap, which helps.
So, we're getting to the spaghetti and meatballs, the meat and potatoes, the broccoli and cheeseburgers of this video. So, if there's anything you can learn from the internet, it's don't talk politics with the internet. Now that being said, let's talk politics on the internet. Good old cold beverages. 243 years ago, the Declaration of Independence was ratified. What I love about the Declaration of Independence's ratification is our governing body at the time, Great Britain, didn't really like that we were making our own country over here in America land. But we did it anyways because we felt like it was the right thing to do. The land of the free, home of the brave. That comes from the Star-Spangled Banner, which was written by Scott Key during the War of 1812, which was about 30-ish years after the Declaration of Independence was signed. Scott Key was a lawyer. He was at Fort McHenry. He was negotiating the release of a civilian prisoner of war from the War of 1812. While they were dropping bombs around the fort, he wrote this. And I feel like the phrase, land of the free, home of the brave, the land of the free, home of the brave is what makes America great. We seem to have lost this whole free and brave part of it, though. We seem more like the land of the surveillance and home of the scared. Like, the government currently has a treaty with 4 other countries where they can basically get any information from any of their intelligence agencies that they want. They also get to pretty much take, if you're a company that runs a server, and for some reason the government wants the server, the government gets the server because we're too scared and we think that this is important and that our freedom is less important. Land of the surveillance. Home of the brave. When have you heard of somebody in America actually being brave? Everybody's scared of everything in America. Like, ISIS is coming to take your children. Or, there might be a shooter while you're grocery shopping, so you better bring your handgun. Or, here little Timmy, here's a Kevlar backpack in case you get shot at school. So your odds of being abducted by ISIS in America are 0 from what I can find. There's not been a single ISIS attack on America in the past 10 years. And I'm pretty sure there wasn't one before that. I was just too lazy to check after 10 years of looking. Now, not that school shootings aren't an issue, and not that mass shootings aren't an issue, but in the past 4 years, 4 people have been killed at grocery stores during a mass shooting. If you were to go to the grocery store every 5 days, and each time you were to buy a Powerball ticket, you are 30 times more likely to win that Powerball ticket than you are to get shot at the grocery store during mass shooting. The odds of Timmy getting shot at school is 1 in a million, which is the same odds as an accidental nuclear explosion from a nuclear bomb. I'm not saying that that isn't an important cause, and that mass shootings aren't important, but living in fear doesn't seem to help either. Having your Kevlar backpack doesn't help you. This is not land of the free, home of the brave. We're terrified of everything. So are we the home of the brave if we're scared of all this stuff? Now we're gonna make a hard left turn and talk about something completely irrelevant to what we've been talking about so far, except for it does have to do with freedom. We're gonna talk about the detention facilities and illegal immigrants. So as of the beginning of June, there's around 10,000 kiddos in detention facilities. There's about 20,000 non-threat adults in detention facilities also. There's about 20,000 that they think could be a threat. The amount of kids being held in immigration detention facilities has risen 25% since the zero tolerance policy was implemented. If you're not aware of what the zero tolerance policy was, basically America said you can't immigrate illegally anymore. That's just, we're gonna get you. So we're gonna talk about that more later. But the way that it worked before, so there are also about 20,000 potentially dangerous immigrants that are currently in detention facilities. The way that it worked before the zero tolerance policy was you would process the non-dangerous people as quickly as possible. And then the dangerous ones, you deport back to their own country. Which made sense. Keep the dangerous boys out and let the huddled masses yearning to breathe free into our country. But the zero tolerance policy kind of changed that a little bit. Let me give you some backstory about immigration. People immigrate from South America to the U.S. That happens. Sometimes it's done illegally. You might ask, why illegally immigrate? Because to legally immigrate, in some circumstances, it can take a really long time. And if you're seeking asylum from terrible things, you can't really wait a long time. You just need to get in a safe place. So let's talk about 2014. During 2014, we had the 2014 American immigration crisis, which was when tons of unaccompanied minors and women were coming into America seeking asylum from gangs, violence, corruption, and murder. Because there was a lot of that in South America, in parts of it anyways. Okay, quick side note. Here's a picture from the Wikipedia article about the 2014 American immigration crisis. Look at this Border Patrol officer. He feels so safe around this crowd of immigrants that his holster is empty. That's great. I don't know why, but I love that. It's beautiful. Anyways, the concept to fix the 2014 American immigration crisis was process the people as quickly as possible, and if you need to detain the parents, detain the children with them. That idea changed recently. Supposedly, starting in January of 2017, they added that asylum seeking cap. So yeah, DHS just started limiting asylum seeking, which ain't it, chief? Like literally the chief of, yeah. So anyways, where are we? Because of that, the amount of illegal immigration surged, because if you couldn't get in legally anymore, you just get in illegally.
Now let's fast forward one more year ahead to April 6th of 2018. Fun fact, I was having surgery done on my leg on April 6th of 2018. Jefferson Beauregard Sessions announced the zero tolerance policy. In his speech about it later, he said, and I'm quoting here, "If you're smuggling a child, then we're going to prosecute you, and that child will be separated from you, probably as required by law." Which is why we've seen a major surge in minors in detention facilities. Because, I mean, if you're arresting all of them and they have kids, you have to put the kids somewhere, that's to increase it, but if you weren't arresting them, you wouldn't have the problem. You get what I mean? So after about a month, the zero tolerance policy was abandoned. But for some strange reason, we still have a really high amount of children in the detention facilities. We also still have a really high amount of non-violent people in the detention facilities. Currently, the detention facilities are full, but we just keep on jamming more people in there. Just like a big can of sardines. We don't need to stop. We can fit more in there. Do you want to know why we don't have any space? Is because the zero tolerance policy doesn't really seem like it was ever abandoned, because we don't have any space. Do you see the correlation there? Anyways.
So 5 days ago, AOC, Judy Chu, and Joaquin Castro, a few more representatives, went to go have a surprise look-see at the Texas detention facilities. Castro reported he met 15 to 20 women who were separated from their children and were there for over 50 days. AOC and Judy Chu and Castro all reported Border Patrol telling the women to drink out of the toilet for water. That's not American. America is the land of the free and home of the brave. We're too scared to let mothers and children into our country. They're coming from a country that has absurd corruption, gangs, violence, and murder. They're scared and they just want a home where they can feel safe. And they want their kids to get a better shot at life than they did. That is the most American thing I have ever heard. To me, somebody that has that mindset, that is willing to travel hundreds of miles on foot to come to America, deserves to be in America. They embody the American spirit. They deserve to live in America, but right now they're just being held in America. Land of the free and home of the brave. Give us your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Neither of those things we're doing here, and those are two of the things we based America on. We're a melting pot of different people. I get there are some bad people out there, and there are some bad people trying to come into America. What are the odds that the toddler is gonna kill you? He's not gonna kill you. He's fine. I don't need to be protected from a toddler. I don't need to be protected from a mother caring for their children. This isn't things that I'm in danger from. They deserve the American people to stand beside them and fight for their rights. So currently there's about 10,000 kids, 20,000 adults that should probably be let out because they're not dangerous. If you want to help these future Americans, here's some ways that you can help. If you're an attorney, First of all, why are you watching my videos if you're an attorney? But if you are, you can volunteer your time through this website, which will be linked in the description. If you're willing to become a foster parent, which, just to be clear, foster parenting is always temporary. You do not get this child. You can do it through CatholicCharities.org. If you're a paralegal or a law student, or if you can translate, or if you're an attorney, did I say that yet? You can contact info@supportkind.org, and they should be able to figure out how you can help them, help the other people. If you just want to donate, go to lirs.org or alcu.org or the Texas Civil Rights Project.org. I'll link those all in the description too. All those places have things you can do to volunteer too, so if you're just looking to volunteer, those are great sources too. I'm currently strapped for cash. Like I said earlier, both my computers broke. I only have a 7-year-old computer that I converted to Linux. That's all I got for computers. I'm still gonna donate $20 to LIRS. I strongly encourage you to donate also, at the very least. You knowing about the problem doesn't fix it. You sharing this post doesn't fix it. It's the boots on the ground, or briefcases in this instance, that are actually what fix this problem. I'm also incredibly far away from the Mexican border, so I can't actually do anything about the detention. I don't know how to translate. I can't do any of that. But even though I can't translate and I'm not a paralegal, I can still donate to the organizations to pay the lawyers, and I can write to my Congress people, which would be kind of pointless for me to write to them because Minnesota, they're all Democrat. Democrats aren't really they're not on board with this whole thing. There's no reason for me to write to them telling them to do what they're doing. But I can still donate, and I can still write to my Congress people, which is what I plan to do. And I think you should probably too. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.